I've listened to so many gush about how wonderful this thing is, I decided I needed to check it out. So today, almost a full year after the original YouTube marketing blitz, I'm taking a look at the Tone King Imperial Tube Preamp. Tone King Amplifiers was established in 1993 and have a well-earned reputation for building good-sounding tube amps with a cool retro vibe. Now, the amps are built in the USA, and they offer a number of classic blackface and tweed-voiced amps, such as the Imperial, as well as their Marshall-flavored Royalist. Now, almost a year ago, in April of 2025, they released the Imperial Preamp in pedal form. Now, according to the company, it's the exact preamp and phase inverter section from the Imperial Mark II amp, using three 12AX7 tubes running at proper high voltage. Now, this little guy is packed with useful features, and for those who'd like all the details, I'd advise checking out Tone King's website. But here are the main bullet points. It's a two-channel design with a rhythm channel that sounds very much like a 60s Fender Blackface. Now you switch to the lead channel, and you're in Fender Tweed or even Marshall territory. Each channel has its own separate volume, tone, and attenuation controls, along with a three-way mini toggle to access the three-position preloaded impulse responses. Now the stock IRs are a 1x12 from the Imperial amp, a 2x12 with Celestian Blues from a 63 Vox AC30, and a 4x12 from a 71 Marshall with 25-watt Celestians. There's also editing software available that allows you to load different IRs, create preset channel parameters, and so on. Now, I understand presets can also be controlled via MIDI. Frankly, it's unlikely I'd ever use much of that, and it's thoroughly detailed by others, so I won't take the time to go into it here. Now, for me, the beauty of this unit is a straightforward tube preamp with familiar amplifier controls and well-recorded IRs. But it's great the features are there for those who really are inclined to use them. So let's take a look at the out-of-the-box functionality. Now, controls are pretty self-explanatory, but rather than the bass and treble controls of the clean channel, the lead channel has a single tone control and a mid-byte control which focuses the low end, adds high-end presence, and increases gain, effectively taking us from Tweed Fender to Marshall territory. So between the single bass to treble tone control and the tone shaping of the mid-byte control, there's really a fair amount of tone sculpting available for such a relatively simple layout. Now, in addition, the reverb and tremolo can be set independently for each channel, and each channel has its own IR selector switch. Of course, the IRs can be bypassed, which you'd want to do for live use, into a power amp and guitar cab. Now, this is a pretty versatile unit, and it's obvious there are several ways to use it. For live use, in addition to using it with a power amp and cab of your choice, you can use it to add channels to your existing amp, so long as your amp has a simple effects loop. And of course, with its balanced stereo XLR outputs and well-recorded impulse responses, it's ideal for direct recording, where you can get sweet tube amp tones without the complications of miking a loud amp. Now, I'd like to have demonstrated it using it with a guitar amp, but my amps don't have effects loops. And while you can send it straight into the guitar input like any pedal, well, you're then stacking preamps, and the amp's own preamp will color the signal. So, to let you hear it colored only by its built-in IRs, I'll be going direct into my recording interface, so let's check it out. Well, it certainly delivers some nice, natural-sounding tones. And as promised, sounds great with overdrive pedals as well. So now let's hear it in a full band mix. I'll start with the clean channel, using the single 12 IR, similar to a deluxe reverb. Now for the lead channel, I'll use the 2x12 IR. To me, this sounds a lot like a Tweed Twin with the mid-bite controlled down a bit, and gets into blues breaker territory as the mid-bite is turned clockwise. As a direct recording device, it's certainly capable of injecting genuine tube tones into your tracks without the hassle of miking a loud amp. Now, I barely scratched the surface in the sense that I could spend way more time really getting it right. I used no post-processing at all, no EQ or compression, and only the reverb from the unit itself. Now, the fact that it still sounds pretty good speaks for itself, but I have no doubt I could take it to another level if I got really serious about making it sit perfectly in the mix. Okay, so how about for live use? Well, there's no reason to think it wouldn't be absolutely great as part of a live rig. And there you'll have to decide if it's better for your situation than just a conventional amp, or again, maybe a modeler. As I mentioned, it can also be used to add different flavored channels to your current amp, so long as your amp has an effects loop. You could even plug it directly into the effects return and just use your amp as a power amp. Now, this would make perfect sense if you prefer the sound of the Tone King preamp to the sound of your amp's own preamp, and it sounds nice enough I can imagine that being the case. So to sum up, I really do like it. It sounds great. But again, I would advise having a very clear idea of how you plan to use it before spending the money. Well, I hope you enjoyed getting my take on the Tone King Imperial Preamp. Don't forget to give this video a like and subscribe if you haven't yet. And of course, if you'd like to further support the channel, consider becoming a patron at patreon.com/LeonardGriffeyBlues. And with that, I'll say goodbye for now, and I'll see you again very soon.